Allysia here. I wanted to create a video today that was kind of in the opposite direction of yesterday's video because I find that two contrary ideas can be held together and both be true at the same time. So what I was talking about yesterday is that art is on some level inherently selfish, but it benefits others because it is selfish. Because you are plunging the depths of your spirit, you are searching for authenticity, or searching for deeper truth within yourself or within the world. And by doing what's authentic and true for you, that ends up having the biggest ripple effect to other people experiencing your art. But that's there's another side of creating things, and it is the side of contribution. So in yesterday's video, I did talk about how creating music or writing or things like that as a way of self-expression it's probably best to approach it from a self-expression angle, as opposed to like, I'm going to forcibly help you now, be helped by me. But at the same time, a lot of meaning and value in life, I find, comes through contribution, and this is something that I'm learning a little bit more about and exploring a little bit more. So when I became a piano teacher, teaching in general is a very contribution focused. Like it's so overtly contribution focused, because it's not about you or your own skills or your own path. It's literally about someone else. You're helping someone else with their journey. So especially working with kids for so many years, it was a really great exercise in putting aside any of my own things, like anything that I was feeling or thinking that day. If I was having a bad day, if I was going through a rough patch, if things were going on in my life, it just didn't matter. First of all, kids don't care. If your life is garbage, they just, they care about themselves, and that's totally normal and appropriate. So to be able to build the skill of pushing aside whatever emotional baggage I was carrying at the time in service of someone else's growth was immense for my character development. I am so lucky that I accidentally fell into piano teaching as an occupation. It was kind of random the way it came about, and it's been a massive gift to me in terms of learning how to contribute without always thinking about myself. An exercise in thinking about other people and their own growth instead of just focusing so heavily on my growth. And this evolved with Piano TV. And one thing that I really like to keep in my mind when I'm creating things for Piano TV, if I'm creating a video or if I'm creating a course, I try to stay anchored in the service-oriented mindset, just like I would as a teacher, because it's essentially teaching. It's just a different type of platform for teaching. It's like, how would this be the most helpful to someone? How could I take whatever I've learned and present it in the clearest manner possible that someone's going to be inspired by? But it's not, one thing I've also learned over the years from teaching is, and this is a big mistake that I used to make, is I used to think it was all about the content. That if I just had like the best facts and I could like stuff their brains with facts, like whether it be a 6-year-old or a 60-year-old, then that would give them the best leg up in terms of continuing at the piano, being inspired at the piano, and so on. But I learned over the years that it's not contributing to someone's growth isn't just giving them information. In fact, I feel like that's probably a minor part of it. Of course, that is a part of it. You want to give someone like proper information. You don't want to be misleading them with false information. But what seems even more important is to connect and to inspire by being inspired. So it does sort of circle back around to the selfish thing a little bit. I found that when I had students that stuck around the longest, so I think the longest I ever worked in any one place was about 7 years. I did have some students who I had for the entire 7 years, and let me tell you how amazing it is to see a kid who's like 7 become a 14-year-old in a teaching journey. It's just kind of remarkable. But the students that I kept, they had ups and downs in piano. There was times where they were really into it, and there were times they were just totally not into it. And if I had taken an information-only approach with them, it would have fallen flat. They would have been bored. They wouldn't have stuck with it. So what seems even more important to me in terms of contributing value to people's lives isn't simply presenting information, but it's providing a connection or providing a source of inspiration. Because, yeah, there are going to be times where you drop off the bandwagon, but instead of, the way I kind of framed it is, okay, I don't want this student to quit. Even if they're not really into the piano much for like these 3 months or 6 months or whatever, at least they're showing up and practicing for an hour or however long when I get to see them. At least they're involved like a little bit, even if like, and they'll get back into it. And I saw that happen where I'd see like an 11-year-old just like totally lose interest, and then the next year they'd come back and be like super into it, to the extent that they like, their growth went crazy and they started taking the piano player identity into themselves. So these ebbs and flows happen, and when I'm thinking about contribution and contributing value to people, I feel like it ultimately comes down to caring about someone, first of all, and also what kind of person I am. So if someone's not very interested in the piano, am I the kind of person who still cares for them, who still is enthusiastic about learning, even if they're not? Am I still inspiring? Am I still learning? Am I still pursuing my own growth with music or whatever else? Because that's going to be what has the biggest impact. So contribution, I really like thinking about teaching and the work that I do through the lens of, how is this going to help people? Is this going to help people? But I also try to remember that who I am as a person and the kind of influence that I have is largely dependent on who I am as a person as well. And that's true for my heroes as well. The people who I admire most in life are people who not only are like smart, intelligent, create great things, but I also just really connect with them as people. There's something about their energy as a human being that inspires me and moves me and contributes enormous value to my life. So those are my thoughts on contribution today, after yesterday's discussion on selfish art. So hopefully this resonates with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts, as always. I really love reading your guys' comments, and I'll catch you tomorrow.